So today I'll start a new topic, graphs and functions. If you're not subscribed already, please do so, and let's begin. So this is typically how a function looks. Y is equal to 2x. So there are two variables in this function, the y and the x. Now a function doesn't need to only have two variables, it can have three in the case here where z is equal to 3x plus y, or it can even have multiple like this one here, g is equal to 4r plus 7z plus 8y minus 5t. It can actually also be y is equal to 3x, or maybe y is equal to x times x plus 4y, plus 4x minus 6. Can actually be anything, but for simplicity I'm going to start with y is equal to 2x, and let's say we choose x as 3. Then we can say, well, y is equal to 2 times 3, because we have x is equal to 3 and we have y is equal to 2x. So you just substitute x into y, into the 3 into x's place, and we get y is equal to 6. And similarly, we can say, let's say x is equal to 8, and we can say, well, y is equal to 2 times 8. And we can have that if you give me x is equal to 8, I can say, well, then y will be equal to 16. I don't want you to think about functions as just two variables like x and y. I want you to think about what they represent. Like, let's say x is time in minutes. Then we can say that y equal to x divided by 60. Then we can say y is also time, but in hours. So here we can say that if you give me an x in minutes, let's say 120, I can give you y, the time in hours. So that's just the ratio between time in minutes and time in hours. So if you give me, well, x is equal to 15 minutes, well, I can say, well, y is equal to 15 divided by 60. So that means that 15 minutes is a quarter hour. Or if you tell me x is equal to 30 minutes, I can tell you, well, y is equal to, x is equal to 30. So I just put it in the function and say, well, then y is equal to half an hour. The other way that you can also do it is we'll say, well, I want to know how many minutes is 2 hours. So we have y because we have the 2 hours. So we say 2 is equal to, and then we say, well, we want x because we want the 2 hours in minutes, divided by 60. So to solve this equation, we have to multiply the right hand side by 60, and then we also have to multiply the left hand side by 60. So what we end up with is x equal to 120 minutes. So using this function, y equal to x divided by 60, we can convert minutes into hours, or if you give me hours, I can convert it into minutes. So to use another analogy, let's say x is the weight of baggage that we put on an airplane, and we say y is the amount of fuel we need to get to our destination. And let's say the baggage is in kilograms and the fuel is in kilograms. And then we do our research and we find and we find that y is equal to 3x minus 6. So to get the amount of fuel we need, we just plug in the amount of baggage or weight we have into the function, and we can get the amount of fuel we need. So let's say x is equal to 100 kilograms. Then we can say, well, y is equal to 3 times 100 minus 6. So that's equal to 300 minus 6, which is equal to 294. So with the weight of 100 kilograms, we can go, the amount of fuel we need is 294 kilograms. But if you really think of it, we also need the distance that we're going to travel to get the amount of fuel, because if we're going to Europe, then we need more fuel than when we may be going to America. So we can say d is equal to distance in kilometers. So then we do additional research and we see y is equal to x times d minus 2. So now, if you give me the weight of our baggage and the distance we're gonna fly, then I can give you the amount of fuel we need. And additionally, we can also, you can give me, let's say, the amount of fuel we have and the amount of baggage we have, and then ask me, well, what distance can we fly? So let's say we have 400 kilograms of fuel and we have 100 kilograms of weight. Then we can just solve for d to get out the amount, the distance that we can fly with the amount of fuel we have and the amount of baggage we have. You can also write this function as follows. You can write x or y, is a function of x and d. So you can say y of x and d is equal to x times d minus 2. I prefer this method actually, because here you can clearly see y is a function of x and d. So you know, maybe if this function was x times d minus 2 plus t, then you know the t is a constant because the y is only a function of the x and the d. What can also sometimes happen, if you really think about it, is the weight can't be negative. So you have to have x is greater than 0, because the weight, the baggage that you have, you can't have negative 20 kilos of weight. And distance can't also really be negative. So then sometimes you'll have a restriction like x is greater than 0. So that just tells you that the function isn't defined for x less than or equal to 0. Well, it can actually be equal to 0. So you can actually be greater than or equal to. So then the function, because you can have 0 weight and 0 distance. So according to this here, the function y x d is not defined for x less than 0 or d less than 0, which makes sense. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please remember to subscribe.